G'day everyone, we're live. Sorry I'm a little late. I'll just wait for you to hop on. It's going to take a few minutes. Dottie's going to be in the background working, so you'll hear her crunching and stuff away, which is okay. But I'm just going to do a quick little toot on here, a toot, and just go through some of this. So I have a whole heap of these pre-printed mini whole cloths coming in from the States, just so you know. Hi Sue. Can you give me your phone? Okay. Yeah, that would be the easiest way for me to see what's going on. Have another phone there. Where's the live thing? There it is. Just need volume. Where's your volume? Where's your volume?
Down?
Thanks, yep. Right down to 0. How do I play? Get out of it. You'll have to do that. Sorry guys, just trying to work an iPhone which I don't know how to use, so so just have the volume right down.
That should be right.
Yes, there we go. I can see what's going on now. Hi Karen. I was just thinking of you the other day. Haven't seen you for ages. And Stella, yes, come to watch. Louise and Marcella, Ratto, how you going? Now, these pre-printed mini whole cloths, they are coming in abundance soon in different colours. I have obviously stitched this one the other day. This is Desert Flower, and I'm pretty sure I ordered some more of these. And I'm just going to show you here. It actually says with washout ink. Now, ironing before quilting from the back. Medium setting, remove water from the iron. So it's a dry iron. Washing when quilting is finished and binding is applied, soak in cold water to remove the blue ink, 30 to 60 minutes. If soiled, use detergent after lines are removed. Line or tumble dry low. Okay, so make sure you follow the instructions that actually come on these, otherwise you will end up getting those lines. If you were to iron from the front, you would end up getting those lines staying there permanently. Hi Suzanne and Karen, Vella, hello. Now I'm puffy because I've just been running around like an idiot. The paint brushes that I normally use are similar to these. I have two different types. So I have these ones and I also have these ones. So these you got your pointy ones. They're only $14 a pack. These are what I have in stock at the moment. I don't have anything else currently, but I do have a whole heap of Lumiere paints coming in different packages. So you'll be able to oh, g'day Beverly and Jackie. Glad you could come along. And I will be actually using these today and showing you how these work. Now they're pretty damn easy. I have water. There it is. Actually I have two. And then I have my paints. I've got all colours. I've got my little paintbrushes and there's nothing special with them. They're just random paintbrushes. And I have a paint palette just in case I need it, and I also have some towel. I also have a notepad with me and a pen just in case you guys actually ask me something that I have to answer. So, and or show you a product. Now, just so you know, when you're doing these, you might also want to get some sticky tape. So I'm just going to go and get some sticky tape because I think, oh, here it is here. Here's what I prepared earlier. And just to get the hair off in certain areas, because black is a shocker. It catches all the fibres from the wadding. You can see it coming through the wadding coming through. It's what they call bearding. So it is hard to get rid of it. Masking tape's really good as well. But just try and get as many off as you can. And just go around and give it a clean. I don't press it or anything until later. They stay pretty flat. You know, I've used 2 layers of wadding in this. So that keeps them fairly flat and fairly, you know, solid. Now, my first instinct is go, okay, so which part of this do we colour? Do we colour the outside? Do we colour in here? Do we, you know, what do we do and what colour are we going to choose? So being an aqua sort of thread, colour thread, and it's metallic, there is something special about the brushes. It's the artist driving them. Yeah, well, true, Sue. It's how you use them. I mean, many a time I'll use a cheap brush just because it's just the shape that I want. So the brush that I'm going to use here, and if I find that these are too big at any point, I'll just get Dottie to run and get me some more brushes. There'll be some over there somewhere. And then I'm using a flat, but it's got a bit of a chisel, what they call a wedge. Okay, so it's got a wedge there. If you get any of those little tiny, the shakes today, any of the little hairy bits hanging off, just make sure that you're watching them when you're trying to paint, that they don't leave like a little dot of paint somewhere. Okay, I also have my flat brush, so it's flat, see there, and then a couple more of those. So I haven't had much time really to really think about it, but this is basically the colour of the thread here. And then I also have pearlescent white. I have a grey, which is a metallic silver. I also have purple, really pearlescent violet. So there's, you know, there's lots of things, colours I can choose, and depending on what I'm doing as to whether I think that they'll suit. So if I make a wrong choice, I can let it dry and paint over it later, depending on the colour I paint over it with. It could take me 1 or 2 layers to cover it up. It's no big deal. But the main colour I think that I'll be using could be, and I'm not a big pink person, but I think the pink and maybe the blue, I'll think about that, might look really good in these, I should say, just because it's a cool colour. If I put the blues and that, too much of the blues and greens in there, they might just blend in too much. So what I'm going to do first is start with my darker one. I'm just opening it off and off the side of the fabric, and I'm going to probably use from here. Sometimes I will actually, pour the paint in. I just don't want to do it over my piece. And then just wipe the side of it. You can get a bit of toweling and just sit it under, so that when you start, and I'm starting with the chisel shaped one, and I can see a bug hanging around. I know it's a fly. Don't know where he come from, but he can go away anytime he likes. Then I just load the paintbrush up, nothing special, and I've decided, just thinking about it and looking at it, I'm going to paint on the inside, not the outside of these lines. So with this paint, if you start lean, don't overdo it, you'll find that you'll be able to blend right up to the lines. And if you've got a nice chisel or flat edge brush, that you'll be able to get right up to those lines. I'm hoping you can see my hands aren't in the way too much, and not go over your stitching. And you see it's starting to bring up that really nice pearlescent look. I'm going to continue on with this as well next week, and we're going to do some more. Probably on the Tuesday, I think I've booked myself in with myself. And I'm just going to turn it around so I can get on the right angle. So just work it in gently. Less is more when you first start. Just dip it in and just slowly build up around. If you touch your thread, don't stress, no big deal, who cares? I'm sure I'm going to touch my thread here at some point. You will just make it work. Let's not stress. I'm sure in the whole scheme of things, no one's going to go, oh my God, she touched the thread. Well, Dottie might. So I'm just going to just do this little area here first. And I'm going to show you how to create some shadowing so we can get some shape rather than just a piece, like a two-dimensional thing. We want to have a little bit of shadowing. Alright, so this is not a fast job. This is quite time consuming but relaxing. And just notice that I'm pushing my jar with the open lid around, and I shouldn't be. Okay, so what you'll find is you'll work to one edge and then you'll turn it around. So I've worked this edge here and I've now turned it around so I can work the other side of it. Just like that. So those lines, you know, that they've put on here with that washable chalk stuff, they're going to disappear anyway, majority of them. Pretty cool, hey? It's nice how it shines. Oh, there goes Milo. And that's Candy having a bit of a scamper. Oh, can you go and get that from Bev? So as you can see, I'm just working one side around, and then as I turn it, I go to the other side and work the other edge and just gently feeding it around. Nothing too, you know, I'm not overloading the paintbrush. I'm just putting enough on the edge of the paintbrush to do what I need to do. All the dogs are barking. It's all havoc out there. Okay, so you can see it's starting to take shape. Hi from hi Caroline from where are you from? Tintaldra. Nice. Is it warmer up there than here? We've got a funny old day today. And because I've used 2 layers of wadding, this is going to make it sort of stand out. Okay, this is really going to make it stand out because it's poofy. So we'll just get a little bit more, and this paint dries really, really quickly, which is fabulous. Carolyn said it's 28 today. That is a beautiful day, Carolyn. And because you're concentrating on keeping it away from the stitch, you won't go into that negative space, what we call the negative space, which is all in here. Okay. If you didn't have your stitching there, you probably would sort of just paint it in, and if it sort of went in, it went in, and if it didn't, it didn't. But because I'm concentrating on trying to keep it away from the thread, it sort of helps me keep it away from the negative area. And your Chewy in the background. It's my guard dog. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually sort of change the colour. As once I do these little things here, then I'm going to start changing the colour up. I might even go into a bit of a greeny colour or purple. Not too sure yet. Soon find out. When I start applying it, and I either like it or I don't. Candy, come and hop into bed. But these flat brushes are an absolute must. They're brilliant. You can see it slowly taking shape. Chris, no, I'm going to change the colours. If you don't like the colour, can you paint over it with another? Yeah, you can. Never thought of painting it was going to outline it gold thread. Yeah, well, I've done it in a metallic. I now have to put anything on it to stop it from running. No, no, this paint does not run. Not unless you add a whole heap of water to it. No. This one is designed not to. It's quite an opaque paint, quite thick. So if you add water to it, yes. So I'll get into these little areas, and once I do those 4 little loopy bits, yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it, Gidget? Once I do these 4 little swirly bits, then I'll show you how to shade it a little. That was a bit of a blob. Okay, is that on any material, Michelle? Hi Lynette. Yeah, we're all well. The paint looks a lot different colour when it's on the fabric. Does it dry darker? Dries lighter. Paint always looks darker when it's wet, and then it dries lighter. Any fabric, except for you wouldn't use this on silk paints, fabric, silk. You need a specific paint for that. Silk won't absorb the this paint. It'll just sit on it and then chip away over time. So Gidget's got her paints coming to her. They've all been sent. Looks like, you guys, I've been doing a bit of research on couriers and we might have a new lot. I'm hoping, praying, because I'm absolutely over Australia Post, even though I did make a boo-boo at one point, but they are, I've just had another client just say that something was scrunched and stuff, and it was lined either side with, you know, cardboard. Should definitely not have been scrunched. So I'm over it. I'm over their lack of care. At least with a courier service, it might be a couple of dollars dearer here and there. I'm not going for anything, because some of them are like $20 dearer for the exact same thing, and it's just not going to happen. So if they're only a few dollars dearer here and there, that's not so bad. And we get it within less than 6 days. Even with the virus thing, it's, yeah, and it's obviously all trackable. So I might have one. I'm going to give them a try. I might even give them a ring I've got online, but might need to actually talk to someone, a human being. And just a quick note that fabric will only absorb so much paint. A bit like paper, a bit like canvas. It'll only absorb so much paint before it just won't anymore. So if you do put too much on and then you have it where it's, you know, really sitting on top and not in the actual fabric, it can, if you were to wash it, it can wash away, but it would have to be a really thick blob of it or something like that. I haven't had that happen with this stuff, but then again, I haven't really done the washing thing. So most of the things that I do with painting are decorative and not for the washing machine. Hi Michelle, just joined. Looks like you missed what paints you are using. I am using Lumiere. Just for a wee while, Shell. No worries. So nearly there. I've got a couple of more little loopy bits here, or knobbly bits, and then I can yeah, then I can show you the shading, highlights and shading. So I'm literally only just dipping the end of that brush in, no more. Where was I working there? Just so I've got a little bit of paint on. If you put too much on, you're just not going to be able to control it. Just going to blob. You know, you can always add a little bit on with paint, but you definitely can't take it off. Once it's on, it's on. So that's what I say. If you do one and you don't like the colour, you can't take it off, but you can actually change the colour. All right, we're almost there. All right. Okie doke. Now, I'm going to pop that one aside just over there. Just wash out my brush. I love the Lumiere paint. They work so well on black. Oh, they do. They're really beautiful on black fabric. All right. I'm just going to take out. So I've washed it as much as I sort of am going to, and I'm taking out the excess water. All right. So it's what they call almost a dry paintbrush. Oh, sorry, that's because I've got that painting in the way. So it's a dry brush. Grab this again, and I'm going to grab this one, which is Pearlescent Violet. It is very striking, isn't it? Standing out there for all its pinkness. Same brush, a little bit on the end, just like that. And working on the inside, because that's where I would think that we're going to have the darker shade. Again, you're going to need to rotate it around, and it's just a little bit. So there's a little bit much there, so just spread it down, get that paint off, and then smooth it over. Very light touch. All right, I'll just chuck that out there over the way. Very quick to dry. It's only if you're doing like one layer, it's literally only, you know, a few minutes or so. If you're doing more and more layers, it can get take a while. But like I say, the more layers you do, it's not necessarily great, because it takes longer to dry, and it might actually wash off, especially if it's a quilt you're actually going to use. With this bit here, I'm coming up into like a triangular sort of peak like that, and I'm going back over here just to smooth. There's a bit of a straight line going on there, so I'm just going to smooth that out. And on either side of these lines, the edges, I'm just smudging in a bit of that paint. It's a very small amount of paint, and bring it up like a triangular shape there. A little bit more paint than that. Yeah. Sometimes, just like I'm doing right now, I'll dab it down and then I'll work it in. Okay. So this is it's all very time consuming, but you know, once you get started, you'll set yourself a little task to do an area, and you'll just work on that. And then once you get that area sort of done, you might go, oh no, I'm really enjoying myself, I might do a little bit more. Or no, don't feel like doing any more of that today. Painting is a feeling thing. Even this kind of painting, it's an emotional feeling thing. It's how it makes you feel is important. You know, it's a beautiful thing to feel achieved, like you've achieved something. And so I'm just going, if you noticed, on the inside of these little curly bits, not on the outside. I'm taking off any excess paint onto the tissue over there. So just on the inside with a darker, and just in there. Okay, just make sure I've got both sides. Smooth out. And that's that. And you can see it's darker on. Good, I've just bought some of those paints and I've been trying to use them. I love the look of them. Oh, they are really, really nice, Lois. Okay, so I'm just going to wash that out and I'm going to pop that lid over there. Now, if you are using the paint in the lid, which is a big no-no in the painting world, but if you're using it in the lid for this process, make sure that you full on get out any excess paint out of that brush. Really get it out before you go chucking it into a white one. All creativity is an emotional thing, that you enjoy what you do and the rewards your efforts. Yep, exactly right. So this is the white, the pearlescent white. You can see it there. I'm going to swap over to that brush. It's just a long brush, just like that. I'm just going to pop it over there because I won't need a lot of it. And on the high point, you're probably not going to see it much. Okay. Just going to bob down a bit because of the, there we go. And on the centres, oops, shouldn't do that. I'm just going to paint a little bit of white down the centre of each of these. And it isn't a lot, you know, it's just the centre. And make sure you don't leave that harsh edge. Smudge it in a little. And basically what you're doing here is just, you're not sort of getting rid of your pink or anything, you're just giving that pink that highlight that needed. So very little amounts of paint. And build your highlight up right down the centre. And build that up. And these Lumiere, the metallics and that, they will really give it that majestic look. Yeah? Very regal. Okay. Now, if you were wanting to have like an accent of white on something, like a dot or something like that, you've got to just put all this on, do all this part. And I'll show you what you do. So you just go around, make them all nice and yummy, so to speak. All right, now just going to clean the tip of that paintbrush. Wash. And I'm getting the other brush and I'm using this end. Right. Might actually just use the jar and dipping the end in so you've got a blob. Okay. Just make sure that it's not too much of a blob. You don't want it dripping, you don't want to end up with a great big drip. Yeah. A bit of dot painting, I suppose. And that will take overnight to dry. Now, can't really quite see it there. Louise, I don't actually dip what I do is I dip the brush in water. So I'm dipping off screen, Lois, I should say, dipping off screen, then I get it onto a thing and I soak up the majority of that water. You just want a damp brush, you don't want a wet brush. Now, the other thing too is you can also, I've touched a little bit there with the paint, but you know, it'll probably come off. You can actually do your dot painting around. So I'm going to get this one. So, because I can dip in. Who's that, Milo?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dip one there. You might want to let him in, love. He'll keep scratching. And I'm going to dip one there. And there. And there. Get another brush that's got a bigger bottom on it. I'm just going to make some of those, that one there, much bigger. Oh, there's a fly. A little bit of a wiggle, make it more circular, best I can. Down here. Okay, you can see they've got little bubbles in them. Sometimes you do have to. Who would have thought little dots could have so much impact? Yeah, well, that's true. Get that bubble out, there we go. Okay, then get the smaller one again. And let's go for the white. Okay. Now, normally I'd wait for that pink one to dry, but I don't have that time today, so I'm just going to put that little white dot in there. And there. And then I'm going to put one in the centre here. There we go. So that's the centre. We'll let that dry, and next Tuesday we're going to come back and we're going to do the next sort of step. So hopefully you enjoyed that, and I'll see you next week. We have a huge amount of classes on, and I'm going to upload that shortly so that you can see what we're going to do. I was amazed at the colour range and how well they blend together when I started using those paints. They are, can you wash the material once it's finished? It states that the colour remains. It does, Lois. You do need to heat set it. Yep. So heat set it, and that'll work fine. So taking a bit of the light off it, you can see different reflection. You'll see what it is, but that doesn't need to remain flat until it dries completely. And yeah, I will see you guys soon. Bye.